Welcome back to the 0 to 7 podcast, where each week we talk about our business decisions and strategies to reach our goal of going from 0 to 7 figures of income in just 1 year. All right, welcome back. Brad got fired, and so it's just me now. But yeah, he kind of did. But he's still here.
What Dean? What Dean?
Fired.
If
you're listening to this podcast, you're probably like, "What the heck just happened?" But we started with Brad not in the chair. He's here, but he did get fired.
I got fired. How did I get fired?
So this week, we announced something really exciting, and it's that both Windowstill and Lime Green now have a new CEO.
Yep.
She's been with the company for a while, and she's been promoted to CEO now, and she's doing an awesome job.
Yep.
And so this week, kind of wanted to talk about, because really, like, I'm still kind of waiting on doing marketing until we have more people. So I didn't really do anything with Lime Green. You got fired, so you didn't really do anything with Lime Green this week. So we're sitting down like, oh man, what are we going to talk about?
I officially got fired after last interview, or after last podcast. It was that day.
It was that day.
Yep.
Yeah. So
wait, no, we did
no,
that
because we're recording on Mondays. Yep. But so I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about like what brought you to that decision of, you know what, I need to hire a CEO, and like what your thought of like what a CEO should be, how that process of finding who you wanted for it, and all of that kind of stuff, all of the good.
So
the juicy deets.
Well, this started about a year ago. So this wasn't a weak decision, impulse.
Before, when Lime Green was just a twinkle in your eye.
This was before Mandy realized what I had planned for her. So about a year ago, I was doing a coaching call, and the guy's like, "You need to replace yourself." And I'm like, "Okay, what do you mean?" Okay. I was like, "Well," he's like, you need to find somebody to replace you, so then you can concentrate on other things." And I was like, okay. So I finally like, okay, let's start thinking about that process. I start thinking about it, going, no, I want to keep running. I'm going to keep running it. But what it comes down to is, if somebody is running it, then they're like way more focused than, because I'll get distracted and I'll be like, let's try this business, try this one. Let's just like Lime Green Clean. Here we are. But anyways, what it comes down to is someone's just like very goal oriented and just very detail oriented, I guess I should say, where I'm more like I can get like 90% the way of everything, and then like the last 10% I need some help on. So where this person would be somebody that's very good at making sure they can finish stuff right away in the last 10%. So I was like, well, Mandy knows everything, and I was like, well, let me see what she can, if she is even capable of doing this. So for like 6 months, I was like kind of testing her, giving her things and seeing what she'd do, giving her more things, and she would do really well at them. And I was like, well, okay. And then about 6 months ago, I was finally like, well, Mandy, here's what I got planned for you. And then I was like, well, before we get to that, here's what you got to do to make sure you're prepared for this. And then, so she's been to trainings and all sorts of different things that we've been, and she's reading as much as she can, and pretty much slowly giving her more tasks the entire time. And finally I was like, well, Mandy, we've been talking about this for 6 months now. It's finally decided to make a decision. So I was like, here's the date, July 1st, and then we'll go from there. So she now runs both companies.
Nice. And you're talking about focus and like, so
I get distracted while we're looking at this. You're watching me look over here, over there.
Oh, what's that over there? Oh, let's start a food truck. Oh, let's rent out the podcast studio, or let's
like last time,
let's do an Airbnb. Like a lot of different side stuff. And like you've kind of like taught me of like, no, we just need to focus on one thing at another time. And like every time we bring something up, we're like, oh, maybe we could try doing something like this.
Try this.
Like every single time you're like, next year. We've already got this year's project. Next year.
I've been really focused this year on, this is what only things we're doing. Other things we'll work on next year.
Well, and I'm going through like Brendon Burchard's like the High Performance Habits planner, and there's a question, like every morning you fill out a bunch of questions, and every like evening you fill out a bunch of questions, and then you kind of plan out your day. And every morning there's a question that's like, what can you not start yet? You can remember it, but you're not going to work on it yet because you've got other things to do. I fill that question out a lot. Oh, but yeah. So the helping you kind of like stay focused. So like,
So I can go try those other things. But
you
now
can
we're
go
not
down
gonna
those rabbit trails.
We're not going to lose anything on our
Right.
current things we have.
There's no detriment to you going down those rabbit
Yeah,
trails
like-
and trying those new things. It's now like,
Yeah, because before we would be like, well, let's go try these other things, and then all of a sudden, Windows still takes a hit because I'm not focused on that as
all
much.
of a sudden things are on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So now Mandy's pretty much running those, so then to make sure we're still on track for everything we need to do, and then there's always somebody focused 100% on that versus not. So which will work out good, and then I'll be able to try out new things that when I want to go try out the new things, we'll try out new things, but we'll still not take a hit on anything else.
Now, so someone was listening to this podcast, right? And they're thinking about like, oh, like, do I need to be finding myself a CEO for this company that I've started? Because like, for instance, Lime Green, I mean, we're month, what is this? Month 7 of Lime Green existing. And now we have a new CEO, like an official CEO position. So obviously like a time frame isn't a good indicator of like needing a CEO or not.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the
I would say like
biggest tell?
like we really didn't, like Lime Green Clean didn't really need one yet for how we have it set up. But we might as well, since we have everything else already set up, we might as well just, hey, she's gonna run both of these because that's what she's already kind of been doing. So
it was
but
more of the
before-
window still factor and like
we needed it for
sharing.
Windows still.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then at this point, she already was running this one too. So why not say, hey, if you're already running both these, let's just keep them together like this, because they actually complement each other for what we do. So they're not two different complete things. But it comes down to is you have to have everybody, like once you have enough people where you're like, okay, now everyone has their own job descriptions and job duties, and everyone's completing those things, and then you have to realize that you're going to be, when you finally get to the point where you're just watching those people, then you just need to find somebody that can just watch the people. And then watching is not the right word. It's probably more like measuring to make sure everyone's doing a really good job at it, and kind of managing, make sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then after that, then that's when you can kind of find somebody for that role, and then you can just keep going at what you're going to do anyways, but now you have somebody focused on watching everybody, making sure everyone's good.
So kind of like as soon as you start having jobs that are like very segmented in like, you don't have somebody that is doing 3 or 4 different roles. You now have like one person doing each role within the company. Everything's kind of like spread out. And then now all of those people need leadership and direction.
Yep.
And not just, you don't have to like, you don't have to like step in and do people's jobs at all. You're just managing the team and helping them accomplish their jobs, and like only filling in when, shit really hits the fan. Oops.
Yeah.
I missed the button. But so you would say once that kind of structure
Yeah. So what you can do
kind of comes
what
into
you
place.
can do at the beginning, and you just say, hey, here's all the roles that someone needs to complete the business, and you can write the job description for all those roles, and you go at the beginning, you handle all those roles, and then slowly you're going to give one of those roles away to somebody else, and then the next one's away to somebody else, the next one away to somebody else, until you get through the whole entire list, and then all those lists, now you have less and less things because now you're just the leadership with the whole thing. So we've already way past that a while ago, but we finally just needed to. It's time. I think we're ready for it. So.
Well, and I remember even just a year ago, like when I started, like my role was like, I was editing and taking photos and making videos for the Facebook group, and like, I don't know, probably not marketing, but talking about it a lot. And then slowly, like, I guess I say slowly, but like over the course of a year, that's pretty freaking fast. But like narrowing it down. So now I'm just doing one thing, and like as the company as a whole, like people are, it's kind of like weird. And you think about it like, oh, I'm doing less, but you're filling your time still. So like it's more focused and from like the employee standpoint, right? And
Yeah.
it
It's
definitely
more people very focused
Mm-hmm.
versus one person more broad. Or
Yeah.
very broad.
Well, and
You're doing everything.
right. Well, I mean that's the
what you do
always
at the
like
beginning.
entrepreneur like pull,
yeah.
right? Like you've got in the book E-Myth by
Can't remember the guy's name, but that's one of my favorite books.
yeah, the E-Myth. And he talks about like the three different hats you wear as an entrepreneur. You've got the entrepreneur and you've got the manager and the technician.
Yep.
And it's like you have to wear all of those hats. And so as soon as you can start only wearing one hat, set up your company as best as you can to try to do that, because that's going to help unlock that growth.
Yep.
What else do you want to talk about with that, kind of going down that rabbit hole of like CEO? So like you knew that Mandy was the right person for the job, and it was somebody that already knew the company. And
Yep.
Can you talk about the decision of like bringing somebody from the outside versus like bringing somebody up from the inside?
Well, I did have somebody ideal from the outside.
Oh yeah.
I already had this person picked them out for a while ago, but then it finally came down to, well, now we're gonna have to learn the entire business, and then they're really good at maybe just making sure they, like can pretty much lead the team. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they were good at. But then I was like, well, it's either going to be, because I actually told Mandy about this, and and then she's like, well, what about me? This was like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it might have been more than a year ago when I was telling her about that. But I was like, well, that's what it came down to over the last 6 months. I was like, okay, here's what Mandy needs to complete before she can take over.
Mm-hmm.
And then she learned how to do all those things. So then it was finally like, well, it's either going to be this other person, which was going to be a good fit too, or Mandy. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, we'll go that route.
So it was either like bringing in somebody from the outside that has to learn everything about the company and
Mhm.
everything about the industry and like a lot of the details that you can't accelerate. It's just a long process
Yeah.
and kind of scary, right? Like imagine like I can't imagine trying to like decide between that of like trying to like, say like my wedding videography company, like trying to have a person who's just like good at leadership run a bunch of videographers.
Yeah. Can you just go take those over there? What do you mean that's not possible?
Like, no, that doesn't work. It doesn't quite work like that. Like, yeah. So, okay, cool.
Yep.
And so then he went with Mandy.
And this other person did know. Well, they didn't know, but they knew that I asked them if they wanted to work for us, and they said yeah. But
Nice. And then, so then now Mandy's hired.
so right off the bat, Mandy took action.
Yeah, she went after it.
She did. It wasn't just like,
And it's
just like taking the title and then going. No, it was like, nope. I go, oh wait, you've already done this, and this. Oh yeah. She's like, I've been waiting for this day.
well, and I remember too, like 6 months ago, I don't remember if like you made a joke about it or Mandy made a joke about it or whatever. You made a CEO joke referring to Mandy as CEO, and I was like, I think I know what's going on here. and like just seeing that like light bulb turn on and like both of you guys going after it and like very clearly that direction without even saying anything. Like she's just been doing an awesome job of just like becoming that natural leader of Windows Tool, which she kind of already was.
Yeah.
Right. She's putting out all the fires.
Yep.
For a while. She's
Yep.
the chief firefighter
Yep.
of Windows Still. Awesome. Is there anything else that you want to talk about other than the number?
No, I think we had another. We did work on our before getting to pretty much a hiring process. We kind of checked out what we needed to change there. We're trying new this week. We're trying some new things this week to see if it'll be different. So hopefully that'll help us out, because I think we had one more start. Can't remember if there might be still training this week or something. I don't remember I think they went their first one on Friday, so we can't.
But they did show up.
They showed up, so I think they showed up. I was thinking about it because I was upstairs going, well, maybe it wasn't, but I'm pretty sure they did. So let me. You got the number? I think I got
I know. You said you had the number. I don't know what it is.
I think we're down to 68% though.
68%. Ruh-roh.
Yeah, we're either, except for we didn't lose any big recurring clients last week, so I think it's just a matter of we got more move in, move out cleans, which then lowered it down because it's only single one time.
Right.
It was, let's see, she sent it to me this morning. It was 92,900.
92.9. Hey, that was a bigger jump than last week.
There we
That's
go.
good.
And I saw some more checks come in today, but those aren't going to count until later today.
How long until we do our first 10?
Actually,
step it up.
I think this month.
You think this month we got a 10
special
coming
things
in?
coming this month. Remember the things we talked about before?
We've been teasing this project for like 4 months.
I know. They already said we got it, but now I'm wondering, like, since it's been so long, are we actually going to go clean there?
Nice. But that's actually 3 minutes.
Oh,
Got 3 minutes left. That's all the time that we have left for today. Thank you so much for listening to the 0-7 podcast. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you subscribe to whatever platform you're listening or watching on. And if you really liked this podcast, go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. It really helps. And if you didn't like this podcast, just click that dislike button twice. Really, just make sure it's twice, not once. You really disliked it, so you have to click it twice. And we hope to see you guys next week.
See ya.